Good morning, friends. And you can do this any time of day, but this one is very specifically for you just got up and you have only about like 10, 15 minutes to do something, right? And I think so often we're just like, we'll hit the snooze button and be like, I'll just sleep in. But I don't know about you, but I rarely feel better for having hit the snooze button. But if I can get up, get myself out of the bed, and then come to the mat or meditation, whatever it happens to be, right? Then I can start to wake up on my mat. And those 15 minutes later, I feel way more in my body, present, more positive attitude, all of those things, having done 10 to 15 minutes of yoga than having hit the snooze button again. So that is my hope for you. Let's get moving. You're actually going to come off any prop setup. We're going to kind of just get right into it. Right? So you can have that stuff off to the side. And I'm going to lean back and put my feet on the ground. And it's not going to be full windshield wiper. My feet are not probably quite as far, a little wider than hip distance. I'll say it that way. See if my brain can wake up. And I'm just going to really slowly start to rock them a little right, center, a little left. You can add breath. Right? If you want to add breath, if not, just find your breath while you start to move the knees. And, I'll always encourage you not to move too fast, but you'll notice I'm moving just a touch faster than we often do, just so we start to get that rocking. And then go ahead and walk your feet a little wider. And maybe now they start to go a little further down towards the ground, but I'm still not really pushing down towards the ground. I'm keeping my buttocks pretty grounded. We'll get out of that in a second. Again, this is a progressive practice, right? And then I might even walk them wider. I might not. I always end up moving forward, so I move myself back occasionally. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let my hip lift in order to try to bring my knee, my top knee, I'll call it, right, a little closer to the ground. Doesn't have to touch. Right? But now I'm starting to get a little bit more into the pelvis, the low back. I'm feeling the front of my thigh more. What are you feeling as you do this? Right? There is no right or wrong. Slide your butt back anytime you need to. Usually this one slowly tracks us forward. And then we're going to add in another piece. So all of this is just adding on, right? So then we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring that whatever knee comes down, the right knee, the right arm's going to reach overhead. Yeah. And I swing it back down. I come to center. And when the left knee moves down, it's the left arm that swings up. I can bend that elbow behind me a little bit if I want to, right? So that it's not rigid or locked out. So that's the new pattern. Now I'm going to start to add my breath to the movement, inhaling up to center, exhaling over to one side or the other. Just feeling that body out. Now, the next time I go over to the right, I'm going to push down through my knees and I'm going to lift my hips a little. So we're doing the same thing we were just doing with the addition of the lifting of the pelvis, right? And I'm demonstrating, if it doesn't make sense verbally, what I'm saying. You can always stay back a stage. You don't have to move forward as we do our add-ons, of course. Find one that feels good. Now the next one, as I move to the right, oops, I'm moving to the left, aren't I? As I move to the right, let me change that. You're gonna go ahead and you're gonna get that right knee down, but straighten the left leg a little bit, pushing that heel back, yeah? So same thing with an add-on. I'm now straightening what I'm gonna call the back leg, or the leg that I'm not looking at, right? I can see my front knee, I can't see my back leg. And for some of us, that feels like plenty. If you want one more add-on, it would be working both legs up. My right knee stays very bent. My left leg goes to that straight position that we just did, or straighter than the other, right? But again, feel free to leave it down and just work with the one leg straightening. You can leave the hips on the ground, whatever works for you. And after you finished off that left side, go ahead and come back to center. Hopefully now it's a little more accessible, the hips, right? To be able to sit cross-legged. We're gonna do a series here. Feel free to sit on height or support knees or whatever you need. Bring your arms down to the side. We're going to bend that right elbow in towards the body as we reach the left arm up. Inhaling up, exhaling to the other side. So now go ahead and add your rhythm and let it just be that for these first couple of rounds before we do any adding into the mix. For the next couple, turn and look down towards the bottom hand. Whatever hand is on the ground, you're looking down towards it. And do that another set, right and left sides. And then go ahead and now you're going to turn and look up towards the top bicep if your neck says that's okay. Right? So it's the same move in the body. I'm changing what I'm doing in my neck. And then go ahead. The next time you're over to the right, you're going to stay there. We're going to add that rib roll. So I'm going to turn and look down and I'm going to roll my left ribs a little forward and down. That right arm can swing, a left arm can swing, reach away, swing down, whatever you want. Turn and look up. I might come into goalpost arm, right? And turning and looking down. And it doesn't have to look exactly like mine. Just close your eyes and just move with the body and see what helps you wake up and what feels good, right? And then stay over to the right, reach the left buttocks down, reach the left arm away with the chest forward for one more breath. And then coming up, don't come out of it yet. You're going to bring that left arm over, right? The head, the top of the head. And I'm not pulling, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to move my left ear over towards my left shoulder. And then I can use that hand. I'm not giving a big pull. I actually prefer to do push pull, my head into the hand, the head into the hand into the head. But just be cautious, be careful, reaching the right fingertips down and away and say hello to the neck, side of the neck. Bring that down, reach the arm up and moving over to the left. Again, I'm going to bend that left elbow in a little bit, right? And now I'm going to do the rib roll. So I'm rolling down. I can swing my arm or not. I'm looking down and then I turn and look up as I bring that arm back. I might go to goalpost or some form of that. Again, you can make it really fluid. You can move through circles if you're feeling like a circle would feel really dynamic and wonderful. Like I can't tell you what to do here. I'm just trying to start that action of rolling the ribs, gently turning the head and getting any part of your body to wake up that you can. And then come to center, chest forward. Reach that right buttocks down, reach the fingertips away and lengthen. And when you come up, keep reaching the left fingers down and away. Right arm comes over, it comes heavy on the head. Let the right ear move to the right shoulder. And again, I might just simply use that as a weight. If it's not right, bring it down. I might do that push pull, right? Where I push my head into my hand pulls into my head and I breathe and say hello to the left side of the neck. And bring that all the way back up and go ahead and come onto hands and knees. We're almost done. We're just going to do a couple more things. You can pad the knees or not. Reach the chest forward, right? Cow, exhale, pull the belly up into cat. And go ahead and go through that a couple more times. And just to give credit where credit is due, I took a online online class with Britt Steele and really enjoyed the way she was moving us through a very similar sequence. So this has her flavor written all over it. Come back to center, let your right hip and shoulder move to each other, looking over the right shoulder, left hip and shoulder, right? And you're just looking over that shoulder as you let the spine move. Lateral curve to the right, lateral curve to the left, or I always say C curve and reverse C curve is one way you can think about it. Come back to center, walk your hands forward, curl your toes under, move yourself back to a downward facing dog, pedal the legs. And if downward dog's not in your realm, remember you could do half downward dog, or you could do some more of those cat cows if they're feeling good. And then reach both heels down, lengthen here for just one more breath and whatever you're doing as your downward dog today. And then we're going to end up in a forward fold. Let's all walk our hands back to our feet, the middle of our mat, the back of our mat. Grab your elbow points, bend the knees, drape the spine in. My friends who work with me regularly, you know this one, right? Really just drape in.
Let the head have weight, the arms have weight. Lengthen the spine. Hands on the shins, reaching the chest forward. Tone your whole core line in. Hands on the hips, elbows up. Come on up. And just a couple things from standing, friends. So with your feet a little wider than hip distance, you're going to go ahead and you're just going to let your hips toggle back and forth. Right? Your hands can be wherever. I'm just moving mine out of the way just so you can see my hips, but they could stay on the hips. They could drape down by the side, etc. Right? And then from there, go ahead and we're going to do a figure eight. So we're going to let our right hip go forward, around and back, left hip forward and around and back, and do that pattern. And it's okay if it takes the mind a little bit. So we're waking up the mind-body connection in a pretty big way now, right? And go the other way. So my right hip's going to go back first, swing around and forward, left hip back, swing around and forward, and reverse that figure eight. One of the hardest things your mind will do mentally today, probably. And then go ahead and come on back to center. Right, from there, go ahead and walk your feet out a little wider, turn your feet out a little bit, bend your knees, hands on the ground. Go ahead and walk, bend one knee and straighten the other leg and do that back and forth. You can walk the hands back and forth with that, but of course you don't have to. And then come into the center, walk your feet in a little bit, hands on hips, tone the belly, come on up. Step the feet a little wider than hip distance and go ahead and just start by just swinging your arms. So it's not the biggest twist. Be careful of hurting knees, right? And this can be a softer, smaller twist. If it's feeling okay, pick up the opposite heel. So when I go to the right, I pick up my left heel. When I go to the left, I pick up my right heel and I let my whole body swing into the twist. And I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm letting my arms slap into my body. If that feels okay, add that in. Then make it a little bit smaller and start to slowly, smaller, right? Come back to center, still the body. And we're gonna actually do one more technique here. We're gonna start on the legs and come up. So I'm gonna take my hands and I'm gonna slap my inner and outer legs down towards my feet. I can slap the tops of my feet and then I'm gonna come up the front and the back, right? So I'm going down the sides and get the foot a little bit, and then I'm coming up the front and the back of the leg with some slaps. I'm gonna do the other leg. Same thing, going down the sides. You can slap the foot a little while you're down there before you start to come up the front and the back of the leg. Doesn't matter which hand is on which side, right? Whatever works for you is just golden. We're gonna do that one more time. And then you can take fists or hands and just slap through your gluteal area, right? The buttocks, and wake that up. You can come around. It's just your body. It's okay for you to hit it wherever you're comfortable. You can come into the pelvis by the pelvic floor or the perineum, the whatever you want, right? And the belly and the breasts. It's okay. It's okay to touch the breasts as long as they're not tender and hurt by it. You can slap them and move around. You know how many lymph nodes are in there? Women should constantly, every day, I massage my breasts and I move that flesh around to move the lymphatic fluid so there's no congestion. And then you're going to come up one arm, doesn't matter, and then come down on the opposite side, right? Come up to the shoulder, come down through the armpit, come up the other arm, something like this. Again, take it and make it your own. What do I know? And I'm not in your body. Maybe you're finding something that just feels delightful, and then you should totally do that. Try to get those shoulders a little bit if you can, right? Let's come into the back. I'm taking the back of my hands. It's a little easier on my shoulders, and I'm just coming up my back a little bit. I find it effective to move across my body and let my right hand get up towards my kidney, right? And then my left hand goes towards my right kidney, any amount. And then this is gentler, don't be mean to yourself, but you can take it a little bit through anywhere on the head. The face, I usually just use my fingers and do a really soft pitter patter like a raindrop kind of situation. And then just stand for a moment. So again, the idea was that we don't always wake up when we get out of bed, but coming to the mat, doing this short practice, may we feel a little bit more embodied, right? Just being in our bodies, a little more awake and ready to take on the day. Namaste, friends. Be well. May you be well.
Be well. Have a great day.